Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
I have obviously a really clear recollection of all the goals I scored in my career, so going back to being a striker. Do you remember all the goals you conceded? And do you even know the number of goals you conceded? Is that a thing for goalkeepers?
I don't remember the number of goals I conceded because there were an awful lot.
Most in Premier League history.
We're talking... it is. It genuinely is.
That's the stat.
The most.
I had no idea.
Most saves as well, like.
Oh, amazing. That's a great
We
combination.
just talk about the save one. We don't mention the goal. I don't remember how many there were, but I would say I remember 90% of the goals I've conceded. Yeah. I could remember little instances of whether I could have done better or should have done better or why it went in. Was there a player in the way? Was I just trying to look round the corner or something like that? I can always remember little subtle things that have made a mark in my head somewhere that I am not aware of. Yeah.
And do you think that because as a goalkeeper, it's almost like the odds are heavily stacked against you? You know, if you think like a 1v1, a striker's probably going to score maybe 7 out of 10. Yeah. Just because it's more likely, because penalties.
Penalties is an interesting one, right? Because I said a minute ago that being a goalkeeper, you're constantly pessimistic and negative and worried. You're always just worried about something quickly breaking down and then catching you out. Penalties are probably the only instance where I feel no pressure whatsoever. In fact, I actually flip it on its head a little bit and buzz off it a little bit. I get to buzz a little bit.
Because the expectations for the goalkeeper to not save it.
Back to the risk.
There's no risk involved.
Nothing to lose.
I'm not expected to save it. And if I do, I'm the hero. Yeah. The goalie never gets to be the hero, ever. Yeah. But in that instance, it's the one time where you get a little round of applause.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's mad.
So if you look at a Euro final, World Cup, FA Cup final, whatever penalty shootout, right? You've got the striker walking from the halfway line. And that thought
that's pretty horrible as well.
If you miss,
brutal,
right? Yeah. Then the goalkeepers, if I don't save it, doesn't matter. It's if I save. Yeah.
Do you know
Whereas the goalkeeper won't, the striker won't think, if I score.
Yeah, no. It's like if I score.
Yeah, but this is the part of it though that we can go deeper on this. Then is you can look at it from both ways. Where the striker you would like to think is thinking, when I score this, but a striker that's low on confidence, or his mental performance isn't great at that moment in time, might be thinking, what if I miss?
Yeah.
And the second that little doubt gets in, it spreads like wildfire, doesn't it?
And that's the challenge. And actually going back to Marcus Rashford, and whenever I talk about this technical, physical, psychological and social, the 4-corner model of performance that the English FA created, it's how you then compare teams. Why is it that one team can outperform the other team? And I always use the example of the European Championship final, England-Italy in the finals. And obviously Rashford, Sancho and Saka missed the penalties. It's not because of their technical ability or the physical. You know, it's not they were too tired to go up and hit them. It's dealing with all that social and psychological pressure coming up to the penalties. It's just that for me, it always comes back to it's a differentiator between a player. It's a differentiator between the two best teams. And then all my sessions all geared to this last question of, so how much work do you do to consciously improve your mental performance?
Is there a natural ability and a talent for some people will naturally deal with that better than others?
I don't think there's a natural way to it. I think people have probably built up strategies or maybe a little bit of resilience over the years because things have gone wrong. But like my Jurgen Klinsmann thing, whenever you have something like that, which is why now whenever I come into meeting anybody, my attitude to people is like that no one is above me now. Absolutely no one. I could meet anybody in the world and I wouldn't be having an inferiority complex because I've kind of dealt with that in my past. And now I know it's not about me. And most of those things then become projection of what you're thinking onto someone else. So I think the strategies are there if you've had the experience before. So the natural thing for me doesn't really. No,
I think it comes about from, like you say there, you've had enough of those hard knocks. You've had enough chance to build resilience to it that next time it happens, you have already seen it already, and it's not quite as big and not quite as scary. Yeah. It's experience, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I remember when I was at United, I used to go into the games thinking, don't make a mistake. Yeah, don't make a mistake. But I'll be thinking it all game long. Just don't make a mistake. But then you start to try and keep it safe, which then means that you don't really get to showcase your abilities and your skills. And it's just, you're never going to win. Yeah. And it wasn't until fully Birmingham, maybe going into West Brom when I was in my mid-20s, mid-25, 26. And I used to try and frame it differently. I used to think, these lot are shit and I'm going to have to help my mates out today. These lot are rubbish. We're going to get battered today. I am going to have to be on fire today. And I would go into every game going, I'm going to be on fire today. Yeah. And I would get this real buzz and goosebumps and I'd take it into the game. And the first ball into the box, I'd be like, right, this is mine. Big, loud, take it. Oh, here we go. We're cooking. Oh, goosebumps.
So on the other side of that, looking at, and I know you're not saying they're shit players because obviously they weren't. It was a process for you. But when you're at Man United, was your mindset like, these are amazing.
Yes.
I don't want to let them down.
Yeah, look at these absolute legends. They're used to playing with Edwin van der Sar and Tim Howard and Peter Schmeichel and proper goalkeepers, proper international winners, all right? And they've got Ben Foster behind them.
From Lillington.
From Lillington.
Where?
Exactly. Leamington Spa, just up the hill, up there.
So at that time, did you tell anybody about these thoughts?
Yeah.
Did you tell anybody? Was that help available for you?
No. I told nobody. I told my wife just towards the end. I remember having a big sort of breakdown going, I just can't do this. Like, I need to get out of this football club. I need to escape from it. And the route for me to escape, the club knew. The club knew that I was struggling. They could see physically, emotionally, the way my demeanour was around the place, on the football pitch. It just wasn't working. It was the wrong place at the wrong time.
So rather than help you, it's pack you off.
I don't know if it was that kind of cutthroat, but I think they basically just didn't need to try and really invest into me. They didn't need to give me that much support. They had other options that they could easily just turn to, and it was a case of we can get a little bit of money for him. He could probably move on to help himself out as well, and it kind of worked out for everybody. But those experiences, I actually learned from them, and I think there's a lot of people that get buried by it though,
of course,
and they struggle with it, and that can really detriment them for the rest of their whole lives. But I took that as a massive learning curve, and I'd learned so much from it that I took it into the rest of my career, the next step of my career, Birmingham City, West Brom, Watford, the next sort of 12, 13 years, and held me in real good stead as well, like you say. So when I did come into those bad moments, I had some resilience already built up.
But you didn't have those feelings again?
Never to that dark, deep extent, because once you get into that dark, deep extent world, it's very hard to get out of.
Very hard. And actually, that you're almost getting down to that kind of hopeless and helpless space, which is, and it's interesting just listening to you describe that. It's all about your what we call self-talk or psycholinguistics. It's ultimately you're going, they're better than me. Why I shouldn't be here? When you're at United, all the other clubs, it's like they're shit. I'm the best. I'm going to be on fire. Just polar opposites of how you're approaching the same game. So the same player with the same physical attributes, with the same technical ability, I'm sure you probably get better over the years, but more or less technically the same, and yet the level of your performance was night and day based on your mental performance.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.